Hey guys, Sean here with OneStopSportsInvestors.com, and today I want to talk about why most sports bettors fail. Um, but before I do that, I just want to let you know I'm giving away a free report at my website, Sports Investing Secrets: How to Turn $1,000 into over $1 million in less than 5 years. So once you're done watching the video, go ahead and grab yourself a free copy. You can visit OneStopSportsInvestors.com and you can check that out there. So basically, what we're talking about today: why most people fail when it comes to sports betting. So why do most people fail? Well, there's a few reasons. One is, here they are. We got greed is number one, don't manage their bankroll properly, willing to gamble too much, and then they remain undisciplined, and that's why they sort of fail. So what I want to do is actually talk about today sort of how to avoid some of these things and actually be profitable, and how it is possible to be profitable with sports betting. So one of the things you definitely need to do is don't believe the hype. There's a lot of crap out there that says I win 80% of the time, I win 90% of my games. We've got a guaranteed winner this weekend. How about our 10-star lock of the decade going off this weekend? I'm sure you guys have either read or heard about this kind of stuff. It's all crap. The only thing is that basically there's no one out there that actually can win 80% of the time over the long run. Now, some people go on good streaks and they go on 9-1 and they go on 8-2 and hit 80% of their time. In the short term, it's definitely possible. Anyone can do that, and you can actually do that just by flipping a coin. But unfortunately, in the long term, that's not realistic. So that being said, is it possible to make money with sports betting? Damn right, but you just definitely need to know what the realities are of it, and it's definitely possible to do that. So that being said, one number I want you guys to keep in your mind, the sports betting magic number, if you're not familiar with this, is basically 52.4%. This is the number that if you, and this is based off of sports that use a spread type betting, so football or basketball, where the odds are usually about 11 to 10. So to win $100, you have to bet $110. So your break even point, you need to hit a 52.4% win rate, and that will break you even. So that being said, anything above 52.4% is actually profit to you. So that's what's very exciting. So you don't need to hit 80% or 90% to make money with sports betting. 52.5% and above will do that for you. So, and that's what I want to show you guys today. So I'm going to show you an example of how this works. Basically, in this example, I'm going to say that you start out with $1,000 bankroll, and then that your betting amount should be and this is going to be based on an example of keeping the same size bets for each game. Okay, so we're going to be flat betting it, same size bets, and for an example like that, I'm using a 5% bankroll. 5% of my bankroll is going to be my bet amount. So this doesn't sound like a lot, and this is where a lot of people get into trouble. Whereas on a bankroll of $1,000, what they would be doing is maybe betting $100 on one game, let's say $200 on another, and then that one that they think is the guaranteed lock, maybe $300 or $400 on it. Well, if they have a good day, they can increase their bank very, very quickly. If they have a bad day, they pretty much wipe themselves out. And if you don't have a bankroll, then you're pretty much done. So I know it doesn't sound as exciting that we're only betting 5% of the bankroll, but this is how you make money, and this is how it's really treated like an investment as opposed to gambling. So on this example, we're going to be using 5%. This is what I personally use and personally recommend. And then we're going to use a conservative win rate of only 57%. So I'm not telling you about winning 75% or 80% or 90% to make money with it. I'm talking about 57%, which is not that much. And then our example is going to be based off that you're playing 2 games per day, the best bets, the best games that you like per day on there. So let's see sort of how that works. Again, we got your starting bankroll here of 1,000. Your bet amount we know is 50. We talked about in the last one. 57% is your win rate. So based on 2 games per day, after the end of the week, that means you would have bet on 14 games. So how does your win-loss look like? Well, a 57% win rate actually translates into 8 wins, 6 losses. Now that doesn't look that exciting. It's not what you read about in the papers where, guys going 20-1 or 20-2. This is 8-6, but I'm going to show you the power of it in a second. So what's that translate into? Well, that translates into 2 wins for you. Now we've got to take into consideration that on all your losses, you actually pay that extra 10% to the sports book. So each one of these losses actually was an extra 10%. So you got to think that that's another 0.6 of a win there. So your actual net wins over here is 1.4 for this week. 1.4 is your net win amount, and the total amount won. If you take this 1.4, multiply it by your $50 here, it actually translates to $70. Now I know that doesn't sound exciting. That's not something that you're going to be quitting your job over, but basically you had 1,000 at the beginning of the week, and now you're 1,070. I know it doesn't sound that exciting, but when you actually break it down to the percentage increase, well, that's actually 7% increase in just the space of 1 week. Now, I don't know about you. I'm not getting those types of returns from the bank or in the market, 7% per week, and then your ending bankroll would be 1,070 there. So what does that translate into? Well, 7% a week actually translates into 28%, let's say monthly, and then times 12, you're looking at about a 336% yearly. So that's just from a small example of 57% win rate. Again, not talking about 80% win rates. I'm talking about a 57% win rate, meaning you're losing 43% of your games out there, and you're still, based on that example, you're still accumulating over 300% yearly return, which is incredible as it is. But what I really want to show you is what happens if you actually compound this. And to do that, I'm actually going to head over to this site. If you actually Google compound interest calculator in Google, you'll get a site like this. The one I use is moneychimp.com, but I mean there's several out there. They all do the same thing. But I just want to show you sort of the power of that, of compound interest, how it works. So in our example, we started with a bankroll of $1,000, years to grow. Let's use the example of where we're getting 7% increase. Let's do it on a monthly basis. Let's say we're going to compound this on a monthly basis. So at the end of the month, you would have had an increase of 28%, meaning that your new bankroll amount would actually be $1,280, right? Because that's an increase of 28%. So starting month 2, you would base your 5% betting amounts off that new amount of $1,280, and that's how you compound it there. So let's see the years to grow. We're actually going to do it by months. So we're going to say 12 months. So this would be based on 1 year. We're going to compound it monthly, and the interest rate we were showing in that conservative example was 28% per month. So let's just calculate that and see what happens. Well, your $1,000 has just turned into $19,000 down here. So that's a pretty significant return based off a small gains of 7% per week over and over and over. So let me just show you an example. Let's say we even decrease. Let's say you only get about a 20%. Let's say you only get a 20% return each month. Well, let's recalculate that. Well, you still almost got yourself a 900% return on your investment if you look at it over a year. It's absolutely ridiculous. You actually use this method. You use the compounding. You haven't invested any more money back into it. You started with your initial $1,000, sort of let the profit sort of grow itself, and you can see very, very quickly how this can work out. What would happen after over 2 years? Well, here you have almost $9,000. What after 2 years, which would be 24 months? Well, you've increased your $1,000 into almost $80,000 after just 2 years. That's pretty incredible. You're not going to get those returns from the bank or from the from in the market nowadays. So that's why I hope you guys can see that there. And you can go fiddle around with these numbers here, but this is just sort of an example there. So anyway, that being said, hope that sort of sheds some light on sports betting, on why people fail and what you can do to improve that. Don't forget, if you haven't already, visit my site, onestopsportsinvestors.com, where I talk about my free ebook. Really shows you about how to look at sports betting as an investment as opposed to gambling, and it's absolutely free. Go check it out, and I'll talk to you guys soon. Hope you enjoyed this video.